తత్సవితుర్వరేణ్యం భర్గో దేవస్య ధీమహి ధియో యో నః ప్రచోదయాత్. భూర్భువస్సువః తత్సవితుర్వరేణ్యం భర్గో దేవస్య ధీమహి ధియో యో నః ప్రచోదయాత్. భూర్భువస్సువః తత్సవితుర్వరేణ్యం భర్గో దేవస్య ధీమహి ధియో యో నః ప్రచోదయాత్.
శ్రీ గణేశ శ్రీ గణేశ శ్రీ గణేశ పాహి మాం. 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 జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ రక్ష 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 మాం. శ్రీ గణేశ పాహి మాం. జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. 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 జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. శ్రీ గణేశ శ్రీ గణేశ శ్రీ గణేశ పాహి మాం. శ్రీ గణేశ శ్రీ గణేశ శ్రీ గణేశ పాహి మాం. జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. శ్రీ గణేశ పాహి మాం. జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. గణేశ పాహి మాం. జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. జయ గణేశ జయ గణేశ 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 జయ గణేశ రక్ష మాం. శ్రీ గణేశ శ్రీ గణేశ శ్రీ గణేశ పాహి మాం. జయ గురు సాయి రామ్. జయ గురు సాయి రామ్. జయ గురు సాయి రామ్. జయ గురు సాయి రామ్. జగద్గురు సత్య సాయి రామ్. జగద్గురు సత్య సాయి రామ్. జగద్గురు సత్య సాయి రామ్. జగద్గురు సత్య సాయి साई शुभ जननी
जगत्कारिणी परिपूर्णी साईश्वरी जननी
जगत्कारिणी परिपूर्णी साईश्वरी जननी
सत्यस्वरूपिणी जननी
सत्यस्वरूपिणी जननी
धर्मसंवर्धनि जननी
धर्मसंवर्धनि जननी
शान्तस्वरूपिणि जननी
शान्तस्वरूपिणि जननी
प्रेमप्रदायिनि जननी
प्रेमप्रदायिनि जननी
जननी जननी सत्यसाई शुभ जननी
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 साई शुभ जननी जननी सत्य साई शुभ जननी 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 सत्य साई शुभ जननी 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 सत्य साई शुभ जननी 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 सत्य साई शुभ जननी
आत्माभिरामानन्दनामा आत्माभिरामानन्दनामा सीतारामा साई रामा सीतारामा साई रामा सीतारामा साई रामा सीतारामा साई रामा सुंदर नामा हे घनश्यामा सुंदर नामा हे घनश्यामा सुंदर नामा हे घनश्यामा सुंदर नामा हे घनश्यामा राधे श्यामा साई रामा राधे श्यामा साई रामा राधे श्यामा साई रामा राधे श्यामा साई रामा आत्माभिरामानन्दनामा सीतारामा साई रामा सीतारामा साई रामा सुंदर नामा हे घनश्यामा सुंदर नामा हे घनश्यामा राधे श्यामा साई रामा राधे साई रामा राधे श्यामा साई रामा राधे श्यामा साई रामा आत्माभिरामा आनन्दनामा ಸುಂದರ ಸುಂದರ
ಸಾಯಿ ಸುಂದರ ಸುಂದರ
ಸಾಯಿ ಸುಂದರ ಸುಂದರ
ಸಾಯಿ ಸುಂದರ ಸುಂದರ
व्याघ्रांबर धर हरे हरिहर
व्याघ्रांबर धर हरे हरिहर
व्याघ्रांबर धर हरे हरिहर
व्याघ्रांबर धर हरे हरिहर
साई सुंदर सुंदर
साई सुंदर सुंदर
साई सुंदर सुंदर
साई सुंदर सुंदर
अनंत गुण मंदिरा सुंदरा
अनंत गुण मंदिरा सुंदरा
अनंत गुण मंदिरा सुंदरा
अनंत गुण मंदिरा सुंदरा
नटन सुंदरा भुवन सुंदरा
नटन सुंदरा भुवन सुंदरा
नटन सुंदरा भुवन सुंदरा
नटन सुंदरा भुवन सुंदरा
साई सुंदरा सुंदरा
साई सुंदरा सुंदरा
साई सुंदरा सुंदरा
साई सुंदरा सुंदरा
व्याघ्रांबर धर हरे हरिहरा
व्याघ्रांबर धर हरे हरिहरा
व्याघ्रांबर धर हरे हरिहरा
व्याघ्रांबर धर हरे हरिहरा
साई सुंदरा सुंदरा
साई सुंदरा सुंदरा
साई सुंदरा सुंदरा
सुंदरा सुंदरा
साई महादेवा साई महादेवा भक्तिपुरीश्वर हे साई बाबा महेश्वर हे भक्तिपुरीश्वर हे साई बाबा महेश्वर हे
मुरारी गोपाल मुरारी गोविंद मुरारी गोपाल मुरारी विठ्ठल श्री हरी पांडुरंगा विठ्ठल श्री हरी पांडुरंगा हृदय विहारी हे गिरिधारी हृदय विहारी हे गिरिधारी मुरहर शौरी पांडुरंगा मुरहर शौरी पांडुरंगा गोविंद मुरारी गोपाल मुरारी विठ्ठल श्री हरी पांडुरंगा हृदय विहारी हे गिरिधारी मुरहर शौरी पांडुरंगा मुरहर शौरी पांडुरंगा गोविंद मुरारी गोपाल मुरारी
श्याम सुंदरा मदन गोपाला सच्चिदानंदा साई गोपाला हरि नारायणा हरि नारायणा हरि नारायणा हरे सच्चिदानंदा साई गोपाला गोपालना गोपी गोपालना गोपी गोपालना जुरे
वाहे गुरु वाहे गुरु वाहे गुरु वाहे गुरु वाहे गुरु वाहे गुरु सत्यनाम 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 बोलो सत्यनाम 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 नित्य जपिए तेरे नाम की बोल
what are some practical tips for reducing stress in our lives and following, which has helped us?
Absolutely, yes.
And one thing that comes just straight to me now is whatever happens, to think that it is God's grace. When you can see on the screen the first tip to reduce our stress. Swami says, fill your hearts with the conviction that whatever happens is for your good. Consider everything as prasadam. God knows what is good for you, even as a loving mother knows what a child needs.
Wow.
I mean, that is how clear Bhagwan is. In fact, be blessed, feel blessed all the time, because whatever is happening is what He wants. So, moving on to the second tip.
The second tip is a very beautiful tip, and let's have this the second quote of Bhagwan himself. We all have heard these, probably some of the more famous words of Bhagwan.
Yes.
Life is a challenge, meet it. Life is a game, play it. And then Swami goes on to say, a weak-minded person cannot accomplish anything. So, be strong-minded, be cheerful and courageous in the face of adversities. Able to simply look at the problem plus the solution and focus on the solution,
Yes.
automatically our stress is gone.
Stress is gone. You can see on the screen the third tip, which is basically Swami is telling that good and bad lie in your drishti, not in the srishti. So whatever is happening, it all depends on our vision, our outlook, our approach. So moving on to the fourth tip.
The fourth tip is, once again, let us have Bhagwan, and why we are doing this is because we want to use the exact words of Swami. There is no better mentor, guide and stress buster for us than Bhagwan's words. So here Swami says, soul force can accomplish all the tasks of the world. So what is the soul force that Swami is talking about? You see, in our lives, I am sure that everyone out there, we have that one moment or that one event or that one person whom we can call as the anchor of our lives. You know, this anchor meaning, whenever we have, for example, I'll give you a very crude example. Someone like Bill Gates, extremely successful businessman, we all know, the founder of Microsoft, and he would say that whenever he faced a decision, he would he would visualize or he would think of his mother's face, and he would say that if I would take this decision, will it bring a smile on her face? If it brings a smile on her face, then this is the right decision. See, so for him, the anchor was his mother, and I'm sure each one of us have some such anchor, either it's a person, as I mentioned, it could be our mother, father, uncle, grandfather, whoever has inspired us, or it could be even something like a book.
Yes.
Right? Something like Satya Sai Speaks could be our anchor.
Absolutely.
Or it could be the discourse stream of Radio Sai.
Yes.
Constantly Bhagwan is talking to us. Just imagine how incredible that is.
Yes.
Right? We can hear Swami's voice 24/7.
Yes.
Can that be our anchor?
Yes.
So, what we call this soul force is nothing but a go-to mantra. Yeah. Right? Some of us, I think, have Gayatri. Some of us have Sai Gayatri.
Yes.
There could be enough and more number of...
Yes. Yeah, basically, connect to the source and unlock that force within.
Yeah.
And as Brother Amey said, there are as many ways as there are number of people in the world. We have to find out that zone. We have to find out that formula which works best for us. I remember, there is the CEO of a company. He used to say that all the questions that he has in his mind, he gets the answers for them during the morning time when he does Suprabhatam and Nagar Sankirtan. He never misses Nagar Sankirtan, but he says, I do the Nagar Sankirtan not because it makes me so happy, but I find all the solutions during the morning time.
So Nagar Sankirtan was his go-to mantra.
His go-to mantra. Wow. So I think we all have such go-to places, go-to zones, but this is something that we should cultivate and ensure that we use them effectively and never get stressed.
I think that's a beautiful point. Just to add to that, in case you have not found your go-to mantra, now is the time to start finding one, right? Because that becomes the anchor. You don't need anything outside there.
It could just be one beautiful picture of Swami.
Yes, it could be our most cherished dream. Right? Bhagwan comes in our dream. It is the most beautiful, fascinating moment for us when Swami holds our hand or just smiles at us. Can we keep going back to that? So that is the fourth tip that we wanted to share.
Yeah. So as we mentioned before, there are as many tips as you can think, but we've just gathered a few that we felt has helped us.
Yes.
And
can help you manage that acute stress,
Possibly.
immediate stress and acute stress that may be there. In front of us.
absolutely. So now we would like to move on.
Yes.
From where we left off in the previous session. Our journey was from Ashanti to Prashanti. And today, we will now make this transition from Prashanti to Prakanti. Prakanti means effulgence. And from Prakanti, we move to Paramjyoti, which is nothing but the Supreme Lord, the Paramatma. That is what is Paramjyoti.
And what a beautiful day to do it. Tomorrow is one of the most auspicious days, not only in the Prashanti calendar, but possibly in every household of Bhagwan. Right? Tomorrow is Guru Purnima.
Yes.
And to think about Guru Purnima from Prashanti and to choose a topic like from Prashanti to Paramjyoti, I'm sure at this moment, every one of the hearts that is listening and are tuned in and they want to be in Prashanti for this Guru Purnima. But Swami is telling us this year, 2020, Swami is telling us, you don't have to come to Prashanti, Prashanti will come to you. You can actually recreate Prashanti, and that is what we wanted to talk about. How can we find our own Prashantis in our houses, in our hearts?
Yes, absolutely. So last time we talked about certain guidelines that Bhagwan has laid down for dhyana. I want you to look at the screen now, because Swami is mentioning what is the secret for success in dhyana. Bhagwan says the secret of success in dhyana lies in the purity of the inner life of the sadhaka. The success is proportionate to the importance the sadhaka gives to right conduct or sanmarga. So Swami is so clear that if you want to be successful in your sadhana of dhyana, what is primordial is inner purification. See how much you have cleansed your inner being, and there Bhagwan gives so many guidelines. One thing that I have noticed when I read Bhagwan's literature is, when Swami is talking about bhakti, at some point Swami will come back to talking about food. When Swami is talking about Advaita, at some point Swami will come back and talk about food. When Swami is talking about doing seva, Swami will come back and talk about food. When Swami is talking about how to cultivate great love for God, we'll come back to food. So some way, food is such an essential part of a sadhaka. What kind of food we should consume? I remember there was this instance where two brothers who were in Vrindavan, they were there for their MBA project, and Bhagwan had stepped out, and so one of them had their homes in the city. So these two brothers, they went to the city, and on the way they stopped and they had the snacks and charts which is available on the roadside, and they had a good time in the home. They came back, and the next day Swami called this boy, and Swami said, "Hey, where did you go?" He said, "No, Swami, I went to my home." Swami, no, what did you do?" "Nothing, Swami." "No, what did you do on the street?" Said Swami, "We just ate those snacks on the chart." Swami said, "I know you are eating that for ruchi, for taste, but you should not forget suchi. Suchi is purity. Purity in food is a big topic by itself, but why we are stressing this is, if we are very serious about following this practice of dhyana, then we have to be very careful about our food, isn't it?
Oh yes, in fact we cannot overemphasize, and some of the things that we will be discussing in the course of the next few minutes are actually very, very practical. They are not very esoteric, because a lot of people feel that, oh, dhyana, how do we do? It's so esoteric, concentrate on the Atman, etc., etc. But the stepping stones for success is a very, very simple process and very, very practical, easily implementable. You can start from today. And one of the things that you can do is about food, regulation of food. And Swami, at length, in most of the Vahinis and most of the discourses, he keeps talking over and over again about the usefulness of sattvic food.
You can see on the screen Bhagwan's quote on food.
Swami says, food is the chief formative force. Moral conduct, good habit, spiritual effort, all depends upon the quality of food. Disease, mental weakness, spiritual slackness, all are produced by faulty food. Imagine, Swami is saying that food is the chief formative force. That is the importance that Swami is giving to food. In fact, I am reminded of another very beautiful thing that Swami would say. He said, see, just think about it. And in Telugu, Swami would say, Yatla fooddu, atla blooddu. Yatla blooddu, atla headdu. He would say like, because it is the food that we partake directly becomes blood. And it is the blood which is directly nourishing our brain. And the way our brain is going to be nourished, like that are going to be our thoughts. And like as our thoughts, so are our words. And as our words, so are our deeds. So in fact, food is directly related to moral conduct, and that is why Swami at length he talks about Paka Shuddhi, Padartha Shuddhi, Patra Shuddhi. Swami talks about Brahmarpanam, the necessity of prayer, and so we can go on and on just about food.
So the second secret ingredient is to have good company. Again, this is a huge topic by itself, but we'll just want you to look at the screen for what Bhagwan talks about ABC of life. Avoid bad company. Swami used to always say, Tyaja durjana samsargam, bhaja sadhu samagamam, kuru punna ahoratnam, smara nitya anityatam.
Yes. In fact, this is from Dhyana Vahini, where Swami says, an aspirant must always be in search of good company. In fact, if you go ahead and read that part, we have not put it over here, but he in fact goes on to say that if you don't find good company, it's okay to be alone.
Yes.
Run away from bad company. Tyaja durjana samsargam.
Especially when you're the spiritual path.
Exactly. It's
so important.
And if food is the direct input for the body through the mouth, then bad company, or any company for that matter, is the rest of the inputs for all our senses.
Yes.
So company does not mean people, but it could also mean all the other inputs that
Absolutely. We take. And good company does not always mean that we have to find who are the good people. Many times we don't know who is good, who is not good. But what we can probably do is you align yourself with the goodness of people. You may not find good people, but you will always find some goodness in every person. So I think maybe that is one way of being in good company. Let's move on.
Yes.
Because
each of these topics are, they are satsangs on their own. We can go on and on.
But why we are stressing is, if you read Dhyana Vahini, Swami is very, very particular about these things.
Yes.
So we cannot say that we will do dhyana and we'll compromise on all these things.
Correct. If you want to have a successful dhyana, you cannot say I'll eat whatever I want and yet I will have a successful dhyana. Yes. I'll be in whatever company I want and yet have a successful dhyana. The third tip.
Yes, the third is again very, very important, and that is called abhiruchi, yearning. In fact, one sister, she has asked this question, how to develop spiritual hunger.
Absolutely.
And again, this is coming from a youngster, so it's really such a heartening moment to listen to someone very young in age wanting to know how to develop spiritual hunger. I can think about two ways. One is, as you were mentioning last time about the most delicious gulab jamuns of North Indian canteen. See, how will you develop a hunger for gulab jamun? Once you have eaten it, after that you will develop that hunger. So one thing is to first try. Once you try, I remember there was this brother, who was going through a lot of turmoil in his life, personal life, and he came to Prashant Nilayam, and I said, what you can do perhaps is join the Satyasaya organization. And he took that suggestion and he got eventually so involved with the organization, that he rose to be the youth leader of that region, becoming district president, and his life changed completely. So sometimes what happens, adversities lead us to developing that yearning. So it could be either an adversity.
But why wait for an adversity?
Yes.
Why even pray that, oh
Yes.
Swami, let the adversity come, then I will, get the spiritual hunger. Why wait for that?
Absolutely. So the other way is, as we are saying, association. If you have the right association, if you have the right upbringing, if you are in the company of good people, you will definitely develop that interest.
Yes, and we would like to take our own examples,
Yeah.
right? we have not faced that kind of adversity,
Yes.
but it was just being with our parents, being
Parents.
with the sibling, being with
Yes.
the organization, and most importantly, being with Swami. When we are contemporaries of the living avatar,
Yes.
of the Yuga avatar, what better company can we even hope for?
Now, I'm just tempted.
समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका